Hey runners, happy Tuesday. It is October 25th and it is a chilly Tuesday morning. It is 8:16 in the morning here in Phoenix, Arizona. Um, and we are sitting at about 54, 55 degrees. It feels a little cooler than that. That may not sound cold to you. That's in Fahrenheit, by the way, if you're here in the United States. So 55, 54 degrees in Phoenix is it's a little bit chilly for this time of the year, but listen, I'm excited for the cooler temps. The summers out here are brutal. But yeah, we have a little bit of a cool down the last couple days, and then we'll be ramping back up into the low mid 80s here by the end of the week. But hey, welcome to my channel again. If you're new to this channel, my name is Pete. I'm a runner, a running coach, and just talk about running here, about my current running, racing, training, and everything in between. So, welcome. I definitely want to bring you guys up to speed on the latest. I had a race over the weekend on Sunday out in Chandler, Arizona, which is 20 minutes or so drive east of here um, within the Phoenix city limits. It was a 5K race. They also had a half marathon. I did the half marathon last year, but this year I'm doing the 5K with a half marathon race coming up in about 4 weeks. So I'm just using that as a kind of a training run. I didn't really have a 10K race within the 4 week that I usually like to race before my A race. So the 5K was the next closest thing. So yeah, I'll kind of take you through that here and yeah, bring you up to speed on what's going on. So first of all, I'm feeling pretty good. I got clearance last week when I saw my doctor. I had some tests run. Um, if you're familiar with this channel, they're checking out a few things and everything, checked out fine. So, no issues. And I'm excited about that. I've just got some niggles that I'm working through, but hey, as runners, we go through that, right? That's definitely something I'm continuing to work through, and I've got an appointment this Friday with my chiropractor to get some adjustments and some things worked out as we get closer to the half marathon race. So, that being said, I had a 5K race again in Chandler on Sunday, and it was the State 48 half marathon slash 5K. The 5K started at 7 a.m. and the half marathon started at 6:30 a.m. It was a little bit breezy, but I didn't really notice it much when I was on the course. Temperature was about mid 60s, and it was a little bit overcast as the race started. Going into it, I really didn't know what to expect. My goal was to get under 25 in the past, in the late spring and early summer when we did some races. I had really good 5Ks and I was doing like a 23, just over 23 minutes, which is really good for me. Um, I knew I wasn't in that kind of shape, with everything kind of going on here in the last couple months, but I felt strong enough to put in a good effort. And so the courses or the course was very flat. Um, Not much scenery. I mean, it's in downtown Chandler, which isn't a bad area. It's just on the streets there. It's just your typical streets. It was a box, course basically. So a couple of right turns and then a left and another turn. So I my goal was not to go out too quick. I was going to maybe hang in a little bit slower than an 8 minute pace and see how that felt. And then if I felt good, pick it up. When the race started, I kind of eased into a 7:54 pace for the first mile. And that didn't feel too bad. I was working, but I felt like, okay, this is probably something that I can hold on to again. Typically, the second mile of the 5K races, for me, are a little bit of a struggle. I tend to run a little bit slower, but then I pick it up and run. Uh, sometimes even a faster third mile than my first, but definitely faster than the second mile. So as the second mile got underway, we had a little bit of a breeze, but not too bad. And it was overcast, so it felt pretty good. I was hovering whenever I was looking at my watch. I was right around like 7:55 to 8:05, and I wanted to try to stay close to what I did on the first mile of 7:54. When the second mile came, it was clocking me in at 7:55. So I thought, hey, this is great. I'm right on pace. I'm feeling good. I'm working hard. I can tell I'm working hard. In a 5K, it isn't a sprint, but it's not a marathon. You're running anaerobic, but there's some aerobic to it. But you're working hard, so I knew I was, and I felt pretty good. I wasn't really feeling a lot of the niggles that I've been experiencing, like in the right foot, on the bottom of my right heel, that fat pad they call it. That's been a little bit sore, and then on the lateral portion of it as well. Um, I could feel it, but it wasn't really bothering me. Usually in races, that's all out the window, and you just go and race, right? And you feel it a little bit afterwards. So when I was racing, I always had a couple of people around me that we kind of stayed together, not on purpose. It's just that we were running the same pace. I had a lady to my right I was running with, another one to my left, and a couple guys in front of me, um, within like 5 to 10 feet. Um, as we made our way closer to the 3 mile mark, I was catching up to these guys who I've been really close with. And there was a guy who I was running with who, every time I kind of got close to him, he got in front of me a little bit more. So, like, he didn't want me to stay with him, and he always wanted to stay ahead of me, whether that was true or not. But, anyways, he got out a little bit. As we made this turn with, I want to say it was at the 2.8 mile mark or so, 2.9. We're starting to head towards the finish, so there's going to be a couple of left turns we have. So as we're heading down, I remember this little girl had this sign, and in races, they've got all these signs out there, some cute ones, funny ones. The sign said, "Tap for power." So the guy who I was racing along with, who never really wanted me next to him, I guess, he sped up pretty quick, like a sprint, and he hit the sign really hard. And I thought to myself, you know what? Here's my opportunity. That probably cost him, because he was going almost an all-out sprint from what it looked like. And he kept it up for another 10 meters, if that, 15, I don't know, 10, 15 meters. And then he started to pull back a little bit. At this point, we've got probably about 300 meters or so, and I started to reel him in. And now, with me, I feel like I have a good, strong finish where the last 300 meters or so, 200 meters, I can kick it in. I never take it for granted, but I always feel confident that I can finish strong. So I ended up catching him and passing him. And then as we make the last turn, with about 150 meters or so, I saw a friend of ours who, he's gone through some treatments with chemo, and it's good to see him back racing. And I know he's not back to his old self of running. Typically he's around maybe 20 minutes, 21 minutes. So I saw him, and I had a feeling I might be able to catch him, because he was always in front of me a little bit by about 20 seconds or so. On that straightaway, I kicked it in. Felt like I kicked it in. It was like a 6-minute pace. I got it down to like 5:20 at a certain point, but that last maybe 50 to 75 meters, I passed him, and I finished the race in 24:47. When I looked at my watch, I was at first a little disappointed, because when I looked at my time, I thought I might be in the low 24s. that's where I was really hoping I would be first to break 25 and then to get in the low 24s. But no, it was a really good race. I ended up doing that third mile in 7:50. So I was happy about that. Just looking at my splits, yeah, I did a 7:54, 7:55, and a 7:50. So that's very consistent splits for me. Um, at one point, when I looked at my watch at the 1.55 mark, which is right in the middle of the 5K, I was at 24, I'm sorry, 12:17, which would have put me at 24:34. But that's on my watch, which the course, or I should say, on my Garmin, it's at 3.18, which is close enough, but it's kind of borderline there, getting a little bit too long. And a lot of other people had the same. Some had a little bit more. But nonetheless, my average, according to the race, ended up being 7:58. On my watch, it was like a 7:52. But nonetheless, a sub 8, which I'm happy about, at least at this stage. But I'm more pleased with the way I raced and by keeping it consistent, because there's been times, or a lot of times, where I'll have a fast first mile, and then that second mile I'm 15, 20, 25 seconds slower per mile, and then the third mile I get it back, but that second mile did me in. So no, I was excited. It was a good race. I finished fifth out of 30 in my age, and I'm 53 years old, so 50 to 54 bracket, I was fifth out of 30, and then overall I was 37 out of 691. But there's a lot of walkers in that too, so out of 691, you take it with a grain of salt. Overall, like I said, very pleased. That is the that's it for the race. As far as my week, that was my looking at the calendar here. That's my 8th week. So I closed out the 8th week pretty strong. Not a lot of mileage, right now, but that's okay. I feel like I can go into this half marathon race here in the next couple of weeks, running a good race. I'm not looking to have any fast times, but at the same time, I can't really increase my mileage too much, risking injury. But I'm grateful more than anything to be able to run and really just enjoying this weather that we have out here in Phoenix. It's this is fall for us. We're typically 86, 87 degrees for highs, and the mornings are just. I wore gloves for the first time. So today was a very, very chilly morning, about 49 degrees. With a little pullover, and it felt good though. I loved it. So that's the wrap on my recent race. And this weekend, I'm shooting for 12 miles. We're gonna kind of see where we're at. Love to get 10 to 12. That's my range for this weekend. Yeah, and let me know how you guys are doing. And if you had any races over the weekend or any races coming up, love to hear from you. Thanks again for making it all the way to the end, watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so, and leave any comments down below. Thanks again, guys. Have a good rest of your week, and we'll talk soon. Bye.